Hello Barnabas engineers. Today I'm going to go over the basics of the Barnabas blocks web interface. You can get there by going to code.barnabasrobotics.com and then you'll see a window like this. On the left we have our title bar and we have a blocks tab and an Arduino tab for Arduino Code. So when we're working with our blocks, we have initializes, which has our setup and void loop. We have our time block, which with our delay and delay microseconds, and some additional settings if needed elsewhere. Our pins, high setting, and a digital pin value we could put somewhere, for example, like a variable. Mostly we'll use the digital write, digital read, tone, no tone, and analog write. We also have our loops, a repeat or a count, which is similar to our repeat, and a while loop based on a condition, a breakout, and a return value if needed in our functions. Each block kind of has some help text if you hover over the block. So I have our logic blocks with a basic if statement, conditionals with an and, or equal to, not equal to, less than, equal to, greater than equal to. We also have our and or block. By selecting the drop down, we have our and or. And a true false block. So we get a true or false if we wanted to check those flags. Those are under our logic blocks. And then math, we have some general helpers. You'll find your integer values right here in the first block, and some other helpers if you need them. Some text for setting up text or commenting out code. But most of the text you'll want to do is in serial. So you have a serial print and a serial print line. You could also do some read. And then we can also create variables. So for example, we're kind of given this first one item. But let's set a Boolean item, and we're going to rename it to like my flag. Say OK. And we would set that to say I don't have my flag, so it's set to false. And that was under variables, but now you'll see my Boolean also shows up if I need to use it again elsewhere, or I can change the value of it by setting it. And then same with functions. I can create a function, say do something. Say my do something is to set the variable. You'll see under functions it will now put do something here, so I could do that. And if I were to rename it, say do everything, you'll see it also renames it here, and our function is available now under the function blocks. So that covers most of the blocks, and you'll see that whatever we do in blocks will be converted to Arduino code. So we have our variable here, Boolean flag set, our special function, and then a setup loop and our void loop, which will always be there. Now if you look over to the right hand side of the screen, we have a settings button where we can change the language, turn on some of our optional blocks like the servo, the ultrasonic, or the LCD. So let's leave on the servo, and a developer mode for some things that we've been testing. We'll say OK. You'll see my servo blocks now show up, and then we'll go over here and look at the rest of the buttons. So I have a discard trash can, which would delete everything on the screen, and I have a download, so I could save the blocks that I have, and an upload to load the blocks that I have. So let's say before I discard these, I want to download those. And I can name my file. I'm just going to leave it as is for my blocks and say OK. And you'll see it downloads here as an XML file. And now I could trash my blocks. and it'll ask me, do I want to delete all 5 blocks? I'll say okay. And now my blocks are gone. If we look under the Arduino code, we'll see that my Arduino code is empty. And then, so now we have the load blocks. I can load them by selecting my file, my blocks, say open, and here my blocks have returned. And same in my Arduino code, my code is back. Now under the Arduino tab, you'll notice that the buttons over to the right have changed. I can test my code by hitting the bug, and it'll test it out and give me a result, whether it's good or bad. And I can either click anywhere outside here or click the OK button. But let's say I have an error in my code, which will most likely happen when we edit the text. We can edit the text by changing the pencil from red to black. And let's say for some reason I forgot my semicolon and I were to debug the code, you'd see I have an error and it gives me some details. It's in my void loop. I'm expecting a semicolon before the last brace, and it kind of tells me the line number, line 17, and the brace. We're still working on line numbers, but we know that this brace in my void loop is missing a semicolon. So then we have the debug, edit the text. Now I can also copy the text, so everything that shows up here, instead of highlighting it manually, I can quickly click this code and it'll highlight and copy all of my text. So for example, if I were to be in Chrome Arduino 2, I could hit Control V and my text would reappear because it's been copied to my clipboard. And again, I can trash my text. It'll ask me if it will delete all the blocks. I'll say OK, and you'll see that my code goes back to the basic setup and loop. And that's all I have for now for our interface. Please email us if you have any questions or ideas for improvements, and we'll be happy to hear from you. Thank you.